Hi, and welcome to this week's The Mortgage Broker Broadcast. I'm your host, Craig Skelton, and this podcast is for mortgage brokers and business owners who want to build a sustainable business without burning out, without chasing the new shiny thing, and without losing sight of why they started this whole thing in the first place. Each week, we talk about the world of mortgage broking. However, we also talk about mindset, habits, and the realities of being self-employed, because when you work for yourself, the biggest challenges are rarely technical, they're normally more internal. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been running a January mini series, shall we say, focused on the real reasons why people struggle to stick to change at this time of year. In week one, we talked about self doubt and the quiet voice that starts questioning whether it's worth it, whether you're capable, and whether this time will be really different. In week two, we talked about self motivation and why relying on motivation alone is unreliable, especially when you're self employed and no one is chasing you. And today, we're going to bring this all together. And because there's something that sits underneath both self doubt and self motivation, and that thing is discipline. So, why does discipline matter more than you really think? Discipline gets a bad reputation. People hear the word discipline and think it's rigid, extreme, punishing, and a bit of all or nothing. But real discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about structure. It's about standards. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And the key point is discipline is what carries you forward when self doubt creeps in, or motivation dips, or confidence just isn't there. And let's just pull it together. Self doubt will always show up when you're doing meaningful work. It questions everything. Self motivation helps you get started, but it's inconsistent. Discipline is what keeps things moving, whether when neither is really strong. Discipline doesn't argue with the voice in your head. It doesn't wait to feel ready. It doesn't need excitement. It just says, this is what I do. And that mindset changes everything. So, why do most people fall off in January? Most people don't fall in January because they lack information or knowledge. They fail because they over rely on motivation, willpower, and emotion. And when those disappear, so does consistency. And discipline removes emotion from the equation. It reduces decision making. It removes negotiation. It turns action into routine. And routine is what creates results over time. So let's look at discipline for self employed people. If you're self employed, discipline isn't optional, it's absolutely essential. There's no boss, there's no micromanagement, there's no one checking in, no one telling you where to be and by when, no one's setting deadlines for you. Freedom is absolutely amazing, but it also comes with responsibility. The people who last in business aren't the most talented or the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. They show up when it's quiet. They show up when results are slow. They show up when no one is watching them. And that's the difference. So, how does discipline look day to day? Discipline doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means sticking to the basics. It means keeping promises to yourself. It means doing the small things consistently. It's choosing the habit over the mood, the routine over the excuse, the long term over the short term comfort. And most days, it's just not dramatic. It's boring, is repetitive, and discipline builds trust, not pressure. One of the biggest misunderstandings about discipline is that it creates pressure, but in reality, it creates trust. When you repeatedly do what you say you're going to do, you trust yourself more. Self doubt loses its power. Motivation becomes just less important. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that you're reliable. And once that trust is built, everything becomes far easier. So, what about a practical way to apply discipline right now? So, if you're listening to this thinking, I need to be more disciplined, do not overcomplicate it. Start now, start today. Just go back to that one habit. Decide in advance when and how you're really doing it, and then remove that daily decision. No debate, no emotion, no drama, just action. That's discipline in its simplest form. So let's just bring this January mini series all together. Self doubt is inevitable, self motivation is unreliable, discipline is dependable. You don't need to silence self doubt. You don't need to feel motivated every single day. You need systems, you need habits, you need standards that carry you forward, regardless of how you feel. And that's how change actually sticks. So that's it. That's this week's podcast. And as we move out of January and into the rest of the year, take a moment to reflect on which of these three areas you need to focus on most: self doubt, self motivation, or discipline. And if you're a mortgage broker or business owner who wants to build better habits, stronger mindset, and a business that actually supports the life that you want to live, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And remember, don't get distracted by what everybody else is doing. Don't rush the process. Don't lose sight of what matters to you. Run your own race. And that's it. Thanks as always for listening. Thanks for watching. And I will see you next week.